Welcome to another episode of Superformance. Now today's a little bit different. So today we are talking about the HELLVETTE. After we tried to film inside the Corvette, we couldn't hear shit, could we?
That's right. Something to do with side pipes and V8s.
Yeah. Too loud. So today we're doing interviews here in the office. So this is one of the first Corvettes that have ever been bagged in Australia. And it's been a long time dream of mine to bring this together. Now this project has been about a 7-year concept that I've been wanting to put together, and I started off with putting a small Photoshop concept on the computer, and ever since then I just couldn't help but want to make it happen. And we finally brought it to the rightful place here at Superformance. We made it happen, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I guess in Todd's words, he said there's not a vehicle that in theory you can't put bags on, so that's true. He was well tested on yours.
Well, not for you guys. You guys just about bag everything. What's the price of this chair in bag? Now, one of the major things, obviously, with the HELLVETTE has been the airbag suspension. We could sit here and talk about it, but we don't really know that much technical stuff. So we are going to pass on to Todd, who did all the tricky work on the HELLVETTE to make it go up and down.
That's just another little dot. So basically we ordered a kit out of America from a suspension mold that we buy a few parts from. Doing it this way instead of trying to remanufacture and redesign the wheel, we went with someone else's kit, brought it in, had a look at it, and then basically utilised what we could with the kit and then changed what we thought wasn't sort of up to our ADR standards here in Australia, and our engineering is a bit more strict compared to the Americans. The front side of the kit was pretty average, but the rear was actually okay, so we used a fair bit of the rear kit when fitting it into the Corvette itself. On the front we decided to heavily modify the control arms ourselves the way that we would normally do it, as we do on our C10s and other truck applications. Yeah, we pulled the lower control arms out, we pretty much put them into like a little jig and then cut them up and basically put little bag buckets in there, so we made these little 3D CAD models in the computer and then cut them out on the table and then ordered them into the lower control arms. The upper control arms are pretty much a bolt-in process because it's not really doing a lot, it's just holding the spindle upright on them. So with the pots coming out through the inner guards and that sort of stuff, so we sort of had to rework the shock absorbers, get shock absorbers in, test a few different designs and go from there. But the rear control arms, the rear hanger box that mounts where the original leaf spring was really well made, bolted in pretty much straight away. We didn't have to do many mods. Found on the rear side of it that the little hangers that they then have adjusters hanging off were quite short, therefore the car wouldn't get as low as what we wanted it to do. So we went into the computer, did a bit of CAD design and made some new brackets there. We mounted all the air tank, valve block and the ECU for the Accuair up in the rear of the car, so we had to make all our own brackets there to mount everything and try and tuck it up as high as possible away from the road.
In 78, 25th anniversary Corvette, which is what this one is, was originally two-tone. It had a silver top and then a light grey on the bottom. So the purists can't be too angry that I just split the two-tone in the middle, like it originally came out two-tone. It was a funny thing, when I first did that I actually didn't like it. Without the spoilers or the wheels or anything that we had done now, just that two-tone didn't really look too good. But now that we've got all the other aspects on and it's sitting on the floor, it definitely looks a lot better now. The multiple rods going.
Sorry, you filming, are you? For the wheel.
Just ask Todd, because I know we do buy acid from them
Okay.
before you go.
It's hard to soar like an eagle when you're surrounded by ducks, isn't it? The clear perspex wing, done by Cirque Laserworks, if you guys want to check him out. That was a really cool concept that I took from some of the cars we've seen at SEMA,
Yes.
and a lot of the pro touring cars that we see happening in the States right now. Even the car on Fast and the Furious, Letty's Corvette. Obviously the same concept went to the front. We got a 1970 Mach 1 front spoiler, cut it down the middle, heated it up so it would shape around the front of the car, and then added the little adjustable rods as well, just to kind of make it really nice and sturdy at high speeds. Isn't necessarily worthy of the HELLVETTE name as of yet, but it is a cranky small block Chev. It's got a set of alloy heads, it's got a nice big Holly on it, a good fuel system, The motor itself has been completely rebuilt. It's got a good, it's got a big cam in it. It's got a 3,000 RPM store converter, a T350 gearbox that's been fully built, and we're running 411s on the rear.
So I think what you've done, Chris, with the colour scheme, with the grey and the yellow, you've made it really pop with all the black accents. So we've got the black features on the rear louver, you've got the black on the rims, the classic Kroger Steelies, and then you've got the black side pipes, which is typical of any vet or, dare I say, AC Cobra owner guys. They all like the side pipe. The cool thing is you brought some of that overseas JDM culture into the vehicle. You've got the sports seats, the yellow headlights, and just the whole theme, and a bit of a mixture of pro touring, so it's all been rolled into one, and it's a very unique creation. It's a credit.
Now, I've never airbagged a Corvette, so it was a bit of an interesting task that we were set out to do. So it was definitely unique. I don't know if I'd want to do another one anytime soon, but you know, it looks cool, and at the end of the day, that's all we're trying to achieve. And I think Chris is pretty happy with the outcome and how it looks.